The good news is Jalen Green looked good. The bad news is Devin Booker exited early with right hip soreness, and the Suns, well, they got ran off the court in Austin. We're going to break it all down on PHNX Suns live from Gila coming up after this. Psychos and sickos unite for a hip-checked edition of the PHNX Suns postgame show. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365. Deposit 10. Place a bet for 5. Get $200 in bonus bets. We're also coming to you live from Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass, fresh off of an amazing watch party with a bunch of amazing people, amazing food. A not-so-amazing game as the Phoenix Suns lost to the San Antonio Spurs, 121-94. I'm Eric, that's Skill. We got Steven and Espo, plus a Freckle Mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. But, Espo, we are not the most important people here. It's the people in the chat.
No, it's us, but I'm glad everybody else is here. The Dork Shaman, one of the most unique names I've ever seen. We got Boom, we got M. Cole, Sean, Aaliyah, Kara, everybody that's out there. Thanks for joining us, even the negative ones.
Even the negative ones. You can still hit that like button. You can still hit that subscribe button. Just because we hit 50,000 subscribers doesn't mean we don't want a little more. And the Phoenix Suns needed a little more tonight to take down the San Antonio Spurs. They needed a lot more. And what they didn't get was a lot of Devin Booker, who did not stay on the bench after his first stint. Goes back to the locker room with what the broadcast deemed was non-injury related reasons. Came back in the second quarter, checked in, played a couple minutes, checked out, went back to the locker room. Coming out of halftime, Amanda Pflugrad jumps on the broadcast, says Devin Booker is out with right hip soreness for the rest of the game. Brutal, man. This team just can't stay healthy.
I have never wanted a human to have digestive problems more in my life than I did with Devin Booker in this game. I was hoping we were going to hear that's why having stomach problems, he went back there. I mean, I guess that's how you could strain a hip too. But, I feel...
Maybe that's what happened, right?
I'm hoping it's something like that.
It was so bad the first time that he tweaked his hip.
I mean, they said it was not injury related. At some point, you just got to laugh to keep from crying because how this team just keeps getting injured this year. And it's fluke. It's not, I mean, outside of Jalen hitting the ground real hard on that play where he fell on his hip, other than that, it's been a lot of fluky things. Step on a guy while running down the court, not looking.
Dead ball.
Dead ball. Like all sorts of weird things. I don't know, man. I'm running out of ways to understand how they keep getting injured like this.
It's tiresome. We come in today, and I feel like every time I post something or say something about this team being full strength and like saying this feels good, we're there, you get the late Grayson scratch, and then you get this happening with Book during the game, which – we all were confused about the progression of, oh, hey, this is not injury related. Oh, wait, it is an injury. He's not coming back. Not to mention you're already without Dillon Brooks in this game. So it's hard to take anything away from the actual result without talking about all of the context that led to said result. And it's just very frustrating because the biggest question now is like, where do you go from here?
Yeah, not ideal to start your post All-Star break stretch after what was deemed and what was hoped to have been the much-needed rest, much-needed recharge, much-needed just kind of stepping away from the game to then come back to it whole and fully yourself. It definitely was not that for them tonight, whether that was execution-wise as far as the game itself goes, whether that is injury-related with Grayson being a late scratch after not being on the injury report, to then that trickling into Devin getting hurt in the first half at some point. Not ideal. Not ideal. I think you have to look at what does it present opportunity-wise. That is opportunity for a guy like Jalen to get all the reps. Now, obviously, you would rather that come with Devin, but that's something you can lean into in the short term against some of the teams that you'll be going up against, while hoping that the goodwill you did early in the season allows for you to kind of have some middling results for maybe a couple of game stretch, hopefully.
I'm really struggling with this right now because this season has been so great. This team has been so much fun, and they have battled so well through adversity, whether it was the Jalen Green adversity earlier in the season, whether it was Grayson Allen missing multiple long stretches, right? Dillon Brooks missed time at the beginning of the season. Books missed 2 different stretches, and each time it's like, wow, they're fighting so hard. But from a fan perspective, we have not been able to see this team fully healthy literally once this entire season, and we're almost to the end of February. And like you said, Gil, it's like every single time we get close, right? Yesterday, what was the story? Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Grayson Allen, Isaiah Livers, all off the injury report. And the only reason Dillon Brooks wasn't playing tonight was because it was non-injury related, but a suspension for all the technical fouls. So, Brooks will be back on Saturday. This earlier today, Grayson Allen rolls his ankle from questionable to out. Devin Booker plays less than 10 minutes tonight. Boom, he's out with right hip soreness. It's like, oh, great, we got to see Jalen Green. He scored 26 points in 26 minutes. That's awesome. But I still have the sinking feeling of like, man, we just can't put all of our pieces on the court at the same time. And I think the worst part is, how good could they be if everybody was on the court at the same time?
I'm at a point where I just can't even think like that anymore because I'm not sure we're going to see it all together, all at the same time, the way this has been going. So the bigger question to me is, can you refine some of that edge that you had? I mean, the last handful of games, we haven't seen it. Tonight, I actually think we saw just how important Dillon Brooks is to this basketball team because it wasn't that same energy. It wasn't that same toughness. It almost came out as listless at times and early on, and that's because of Dillon and the decisions that Dillon made on the court that kept him off the court tonight. And there's a possibility that this could happen again if he doesn't control himself in terms of with the refs, and that the refs don't screw him like they have a handful of times with these technicals. This team needs Dillon Brooks. They've built around his mentality. It is the Suns' way, and they said that he is a big part of why they've been able to shift things. If you don't have Dillon, it doesn't seem like you have the same kind of edge. And then you add all these other factors into it, and tonight became the perfect storm of how you get your ass kicked. And that is what it was tonight, was a complete ass kicking. And now this team has to start looking at itself and go, okay, it's great that early on you out tough people, you out tried people, but guess what? You got 26 games left.
Yep.
Everybody's trying now. Every team that you're going to face with something to play for is going to be locked in. So what else do you have left in the tank? What are you able to do, and how are you able to do it whether you have everybody out there or not?
You talk about not having an edge, and you might be able to get away with that sometimes, right? But this is not the team. The Spurs, who won 6 games in a row, have one of the most talented young players in the NBA who definitely has an edge about him, and that carries along across the board with this Spurs team. It just was not the right situation. And as you mentioned, it's 26 games left. Like, at this point, you're running against the clock. I think I can't anymore. I've said it till I've run out of breath that, hey, man, we're going to see this team at full strength. When we see this team at full strength, when they get a runway, and I have no idea how serious or not serious hip soreness is. I have no idea what Grayson's ankle is like. But at this point, it's just kind of like roll the ball out, and who they have available is who they got to play with. Save for things that you get in your own way, like getting an automatic suspension for having too many technical fouls. There's not really anything else I can say about it other than, look, we've seen this team employ the next man mentality enough times, and it's been successful, and we've seen them dig deep and find different ways to win. I think it got exhausting for them. Hell, it's exhausting for us to see guys continuously get hurt. So I know it's frustrating for them if your body's failing you or freak accidents continue to happen for you, but it comes down to it. The Magic are a team on Saturday who's playing for something. The Trailblazers playing for something. Celtics, Lakers, all your next opponents are playing for something. They don't care who's available.
No,
So-
and the Magic are just as injured as you
And they're
are.
trying to
They're
trying to figure it out too. So what? Like, there's no time to feel sorry for yourselves. Look, rub some dirt on it. Who's available? Go hoop. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, like, any team, whether you're a team that's scratching and clawing for a top 6 spot to duck the play-in tournament outright, whether you're at the top of a conference, whether you're a reigning champion and you're trying to repeat those efforts, there's injury adversity for everybody. It gets kind of caught in the echo chamber because we are all, obviously us are covering the Suns. We're always talking about the Suns. We're hyper fixated on the Suns. To your point, something we talked about off camera, bro, Orlando's had more injury issues than anybody this season. Yeah. That's one team that damn sure is not going to be sorry for anybody when it comes to, oh, big whoop, you're missing one of your best players. Guess what? Welcome to the party. You will never surmount the amount of games we've missed to our top end talent. With even if your guys miss the rest of the season. So I don't think that's not an excuse.
No, you don't have, you don't have time to feel sorry
for a team that's never made excuses all season long. It's not even fair to assess it from the lens of, man, if they just you got to figure it out. I think that's the part of this season. Look at Oklahoma City. They've created so much separation from pretty much everybody that's not named San Antonio, and they haven't had their guys healthy all season either because they just figured it out. The Suns have to figure it out and get back in alignment with what's made them a successful team.
Go back, pull up the film, and show exactly who you've been this entire year and say, hey, guys, that's who we need to be right now.
Is there any worry that they're not going to do that, though? That's my thing. It's I'm not I know that they're going to come out on Saturday and they're going to respond. I don't get why people are hitting the panic button.
Do we know that? Because we didn't see it in the handful of games before the All-Star break. They come out and everybody says, hey, they're going to have breather. They're going to come back, recharge. I get it. You didn't have Dillon. Devin gets injured.
And Grayson
isn't there. But the fact is, and you played the Spurs, who we're not talking about. You played the Indiana Pacers tonight, but you start to wonder, are you getting to a point where maybe everybody else has turned it on and it's just not the same kind of game you were playing before? Because it's easy to catch teams off guard on a Monday through Wednesday earlier in the season.
Sure.
You're not catching anybody off guard now, so you got to tap back into it.
And you've beaten a lot of these teams before. I mean, the Suns had beaten the Spurs twice going into tonight, and you know damn well that they wanted to change that narrative going into it. I just I get it. And there's an internal battle with me right now between what you're saying, what some people in chat is saying, and I'm not saying that I don't feel that or I don't see that. But they have built so much goodwill with me that whether it's blind faith or not, I think they've earned some faith that they're going to respond. And tonight, you're playing what I deem to be probably a top 3 team in the league and the San Antonio Spurs without your 3 best players when healthy. Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks, and Grayson Allen have been your 3 best players when they've been on the court together. Now, I get it. They haven't always been on the court together, but I'm not going to go here and be like, I'm having questions about this team because the stretch that we're talking about where they haven't been who they are is so much smaller than what they've shown us for months. It wasn't like the Suns had one hot month and then all of a sudden they fell off.
I don't think it's questions about who they are. It's questions about how do you get back to it? How do you do that? And how do you accept that you can't just keep going, well, you're missing your top 3 guys. Like at some point, you're still gonna be missing guys. So how do you tap back into it? How do you go back out there and not only show your fans, but build that confidence back out in yourselves and show it on the floor? And you hope that the Magic are the team that you can do that against. It should be, you hope, a get well game for you in terms of bouncing back in that way. It's just this is not the way you wanted to set the tone for what was everybody looking at the playoff push in the final third of your season. This isn't the kind of game that you want to come out with, and obviously the injury isn't what you want to see.
My concern is momentum, and yes. I think that's we talk a lot about stumbling to begin February, and we were talking so much like All-Star break was going to be this big fix-all where, hey, press this button, everybody gets a chance to rest, rejuvenate their bodies, and come back at full strength and get ready to go. And I think it's demoralizing that once you come out of that, which you looked at as this big fix for all the issues that you've been having, the same issues persist. You get these 2 injuries to key players basically without anything happening, and now it's like, man, okay, well, now what? And I think that as far as that goes with the team, yes, they know who they are because it hasn't been that long ago that they were just beating Cleveland and Detroit. And the way that they played in the month of January and February has been rough, and they've taken their lumps and bumps and bruises in this month. But what I'm concerned is that, okay, similar to wanting to see one go through in the game, just some type of good fortune going your way. I think that taking so many hits with injuries, with Jalen Green's fall, Devin Booker's hit, Grayson Allen's ankle. Not even the fact that these are excuses. I just think that it's just, man, how many more times can this team pick themselves up off the mat? That's the concern. And it has taken care of business this weekend against Orlando and Portland, who, again, are going to be playing for something. They're going to test you. Portland just tested you a few weeks ago. So I just think it's, can they pick themselves up off the mat? Do they have enough left within them to keep going? They've earned enough goodwill for us to believe it, but I can also understand why they might not have anything left.
This is why I enjoy this middle portion of the season. Almost every team has a moment close to the All-Star break where it's like, man, y'all don't look like yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams have a moment right after the All-Star break where it's like, man, y'all don't look like yourselves too much right now. That's the the context is what it is as far as injuries for the Suns. But I think game process-wise, this is a team that just didn't play to some of the things that they typically do.
They haven't been.
I look past I look past the injuries. I'm looking at the execution. How can they get back in alignment with what's made them the team that they showed to be for a majority of this season? I think you look at the numbers now. One example of it is taking more shots and winning the possession battle. San Antonio took 87 shots tonight. The Suns took 105 shots. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of garbage time mixed in there as well, but
I mean,
generally,
that was since the second quarter.
fair. But when the actual white flag was waved, then shout out to Busy, keep getting them checks. Busy checks into the game, and then you got Man checking in, and okay, it's like, all right, both teams, I said, enough is enough. This one's done. Yeah. Even at that point, the Suns were at a sizable margin on the offensive boards. That's one frame of kind of assessing if this team is playing to their strengths. It's indicative on the offensive rebound margin and the total field goal attempts margin. Now, where San Antonio obviously made up for it, which is one of the weaknesses of the Suns, how often they send their opponents to the free throw line. Suns only had 6. So the rim pressure part for them, we talked about Wemby being around and how that flattens things out as far as drives and cuts and shots at the rim goes. San Antonio, 20 field goal attempts. Not something the Suns can live with if you're not fouling Wembanyama. You shouldn't be sending other guys to the line. This team getting up that many attempts at the line, again, just examples of where the execution can be better. To the point of that, too, San Antonio only had 11 turnovers tonight and 30 assists on 45 field goals made. The Suns, when they're at their best, opponents are at 17, 18, 22, 25 turnovers in the game, which leads to your transition. Get back in alignment with your game process, and you'll get the results that you were getting earlier.
Kind of to your point, Steven, we have a super chat here about the free throws. This one from Chris. Thank you so much, Chris, with a $10 super chat. Says, that was just awful. This team really needs to try to force their way to the line more. It seems like every night there's a huge free throw disparity, and it's not because the refs hate the Suns. Now, I get that, Detroit and San Antonio are really good at not sending teams to the line, but do you feel like
Detroit sends teams to the line worse than anybody in the league.
Oh, there was one of the
San
other
Antonio,
teams
San Antonio, though, for
recently
sure.
does it.
Cleveland, right?
Cleveland does
it.
And
Cleveland's
so,
good with it,
do you feel like the Suns, okay, they just keep on chucking threes? Is it they're not initiating enough contact? How can they help shift that narrative that's been forming with the free throw disparity?
I mean, when you put teams in transition, that's one way to do it because now things are not set. There's a lot more chaos in transition than it is controlled. That's the best way for the Suns to do that because they just don't have guys that are putting pressure on the rim. So guys aren't being put in limbo to commit fouls at a high volume because the only person that's putting a threatening type of pressure on the rim is Jalen. That's why his presence is so important. He's not going to be the only piece that's going to do it because he has ways of putting other people in position to attack a closeout, which is a form of chaos. Be able to hit a roller after the big commits to him and drop, which is a form of chaos, and then you get fouls in those situations. And then the other part for me, more than anything else, on those second chance opportunities, if it's not a 85th to 100% percentile shot quality three that you're getting up, go get to the rim. Put some pressure on the opponents with the extra opportunities that you're getting.
Yeah, look, you can take a white pony and paint black stripes on it. Doesn't make it a zebra. I just don't think that you're going to be able to change that fundamentally who you've been this year. I think you can get slightly better at it. There will be nights where you obviously hit those threes more. You'll find your way back there. But to your point, Steven, it's a lot of the little things that you need to get back to that made such a big difference for this team. And I want to make it clear, I'm not giving up on this team in any way, shape, or form. I still believe that they are the team that we've seen more often than not, but your margin for error is none.
Non-existent.
You have none in this Western Conference. So every game that you have that happens like this, like tonight, is one less opportunity you have to either stave off the Warriors or move into that top 6 and make sure you're not in the play-in. So that's where the frustration and the concern comes in, is how long is it going to take you to refine yourself? And how much of a hole could you potentially put yourself in because of that? And where will you find yourself at the end of that? That's my only concern is when do we see that team that we know that they are come back into the fold? And hopefully it starts on Saturday, because tonight obviously was nowhere near who you've been.
And that's the thing. I think the timing of it doesn't help, right? Like we've seen games like this before in different times, but coming out of the All-Star break, especially all the talk that we were talking about them bouncing back outside of it, and it didn't happen. Like they lost to the Cavs like this on New Year's Eve and bounced back from it pretty well. Lost to the Rockets like this a couple months ago and bounced back from it pretty well. So there's also that goodwill they've earned with that. Specific to the free throw conversation, Espo, you kind of said it a little bit already, and Steven, we talked about it with playing style and tendencies. There are a lot of guys. How many times we think about, like, obviously we know the rim pressure that Jalen brings, but like a lot of the bigs, the way the bigs finish, they aren't really seeking contact, right? We talk about, like, Oso's push shot is kind of his thing. He's not really seeking contact in that. We've also often talked about Mark's angles on the rolls and the way he's diving to the basket, not necessarily a way that invites contact. So again, even the guys who are finishing around the rim or in situations and places where they could draw fouls, that's not really in their play style or what they kind of do. So thinking about that big picture, that's probably not something that's going to change until they have an off season of changing those tendencies, because we're 56 games in. That's not changing at this point.
With the Suns, I look at the last 10 games. Anybody know the record in the last 10 games?
4-6.
5-5.
They're 5-5. With some of those losses coming to the Spurs and the Thunder, that's a pretty tough all-star break sandwich, considering you got Devin Booker for all but basically 5 minutes in those 2 games. And yeah, you've got some losses to some other teams, but none of them bad, like the 76ers and the Warriors, the Clippers before obviously all the trades, and the Clippers were one of the hottest teams in the NBA when you played them. 5-5 feels a lot worse, I think, because of the January they had, where they have a coach of the month and they have a player of the week, and they're beating all these big-time teams on this Eastern Conference road trip, right? But 5-5 over your last 10, like, that's enough to tread water, okay? They're 8 games over 500, and tonight, I think, exposed a lot of things that when you play really great teams who also match up well against your weaknesses, like you're not good at getting to the free throw line, well, San Antonio's really good at defending without sending players to the free throw line. So when you face better teams than you who match up bad against you, the Suns might not have the type of counterpunches they've had when they're not fully healthy, and they're never fully healthy. That's the big concern with tonight.
But to me, the thing is, all your opponents are going to be like this if you get into the playoffs. You're not. There's not going to be an easy night. So if your whole thing is, you think you can at least win a series in the playoffs, well, guess what? This is the kind of opponent you're going to face. It's going to be the kind of teams you faced during that stretch. So now you need to dig deep and figure out who are you, and how much can you actually win at this point.
Couple super chats here before we take a break. Let's do this first one from Riddle. $9.99 super chat from Riddle. James, we'll get yours here in a second. Says, the Phoenix Suns should adjust practices to strengthen defense first, then improve offensive flow. Sharper structure and smarter drills will boost their overall basketball IQ. I'm not at practices, but I'm assuming that they're drilling defense in practices.
I mean, they got a top 10 defense for a reason.
Yeah.
They got top 10 defense generally and in the half court for a reason. Like, they force all the turnovers that they do. Top 5, top 6 in the league pretty much haven't been less than top 6 all season for a reason. Like, they have to get back in alignment with those things 100%. But I imagine it's been hyper intensive on we need to have our defense be at this level here for our offense to reach the ceiling that it can and for the team to reach the ceiling that it can. Without that domino falling first and being prioritized, they don't get to where their potential suggests that they could this season, which is having a first-round matchup outright.
You saying that, Stephen, is an important reminder that this is a marathon and not a sprint. Mm-hmm. And we are, 2/3 of the way through it. But you have to trust and understand that those figures and those ranks are what we've seen over the entire 56 game span. And this team has been more characteristic for probably 40 to 45 of these 56 games so far. And yes, this is a rough stretch, and the last 6 or 7 have been rough, but don't let that take too much away from what we've seen for those other 40-plus games that would indicate that they work on defense, that they have these defensive principles. And I guess the bigger question is, can they get back to it? Sure. But it's not a question of if they're working on it or not, because the proof is in the results and in the rankings.
They didn't forget how to play defense. And tonight, I stand by the fact that Dillon Brooks wasn't out there is a huge part of why your defense wasn't defense,
yes,
right?
It is.
Exactly.
But the blow-by rate.
I mean, that's the reality of it, right? You were missing a key cog in your defense. That I accept, and since it's not an injury, I'm less concerned about that. Now, if you go out there and you play defense like this on Saturday against a depleted Magic team, I'm concerned at that point with Dillon Brooks out there as well.
Okay, we have 2 funny super chats. We're going to read those for you, plus we'll continue to break down this game. There was some good stuff, believe it or not, from tonight's game, whether you want to accept it or not. There were some fun things that we could talk about. We'll do that on the other side of our first break. It's hard to find consistency in the NBA over an 82-game season, but it's not hard to find consistency when it comes to great deals, great gas, and great vibes. That is all at Circle K. You can join the Inner Circle program for free by downloading the Circle K app, putting in your phone number, putting in your email address, and you're automatically saving money. Like last week, on last Thursday, so about a week ago, they had an Inner Circle fuel day where you saved 40 cents off per gallon. 40 cents
40
off
piece.
per gallon.
40.
That's a lot of money, especially if you drive a lot, and you can do unlimited fill-ups on that day. So if you drive multiple cars in your family, or you have big gas-guzzling cars, guess what? You can fill up 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars. You can do all of that on Inner Circle fuel days, because Circle K is always trying to help you save money, also on snacks with their meal deals and discounts on energy drinks and Circle K exclusive flavors. So you can join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms, conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
Eric, there's a rumor that somebody tangentially related to the ASU program gave a little money to their new practice facility. Did you use your Mountain America ASU card
I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, that $20 million donation came from my pocket.
I just assumed you did $20 and the rest of it came from somebody else. But you know what? As long as you're doing it with your Mountain America credit card or debit card with that ASU or Suns logo or Merck logo on it, we're happy about it, because the MyStyle checking account should be your lifestyle, because it has built-in benefits: restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, identity protection, loan rate discounts, offers on travel and events, and so much more. Why wouldn't you become part of the MyStyle checking account? That just makes so much sense. Plus, you can sport your son's pride, even on a night like tonight, by getting that as well. So make MyStyle, no, not a jacket and a hat, at the MyStyle checking account your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/MyStyle. Apply. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits are required. No cost registration and activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply, like everything in life.
Some housekeeping here on PHNX Suns. You can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Want to thank everybody who came out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass Upper Deck Kitchen and Bar for our watch party. We had such an amazing time. Our biggest watch party yet this entire year. Got to talk some great Suns ball and everything else with everybody who came out here. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. If you took the time out of your day to come watch the Suns lose with us, hopefully we made it a little bit of a more enjoyable experience for you. We also have a merch sale going on right now. Was talking with a couple of the people out here at our watch party about the hat that Gil's wearing, and showed them all of the items on our PHNX locker are 30% off, from hats to shirts to everything in between at gophnx.com at 30% off. Take advantage. Get your new villain shirt, Dillon the villain shirt, which we saw Groundhog Mama wear today. First time that I saw somebody wear that in person. Looked awesome. Go get that yourself. And then we have some super chats here. First one from James Johnson. Thank you, James. Says, book out with hip soreness. Too much Jenner over the LA weekend. Steven, your thoughts?
I got no comment, man. Leave me alone.
I thought she fixed things. Didn't she fix his ankle? Wasn't that what we had said?
Only if she rubbed it. Gil?
I thought she fixed things by handing off a unnamed soda beverage.
That is true.
That's how she fixes the world's problem.
My bad,
all
my
of the
bad.
world's problems. Steven, no comments on the super chat.
That wasn't for. I'm not the target audience. That was for at all.
Don't drag him into the
At all.
muck. Come on.
Gil, we got a super chat from Be Calm, See Clearly. They're back.
Welcome back. Super chat from Be Calm, See Clearly. Again, welcome back. Whose house? Hawks house. And also, we did not care. Dynasty is coming. Get well. Snatch. Booker and Steven, we are breaking up. I'm single now. Salute.
Wow.
Whoa.
It's over.
Why y'all reacting like that?
Wow.
It's
Be
over,
calm.
Steven.
Be calm. You been said we was done. like eight. You said we was done during Mercury season. So, I mean, yeah.
The emotional roller coaster, man.
It is what
man.
it is. Hey,
Congrats on the chip, though.
Yes, congrats. Be Calm, See
for
Clearly.
sure.
By the way, for some of the rest of the chat, may I, I'm a man that believes in a lot of things, and therapy is one of them. May I suggest it?
Yes, I think we are kind of being like a collective therapy right now. And look, everybody can feel how they feel about this game or about this team.
No. We need a woosah. We need it. You already know what time it is. We haven't had to do it this season yet.
We're breaking
But
it
now
out,
it's
Steven?
meditation with SPG
Okay.
time. So, yeah, we are going to go ahead and just everybody pause for a moment. Step away from the keyboard. Yes, you. Step away from the keyboard. Stop typing. Woosah. Just one quick inhale. Hold it. One quick exhale. Okay. Now, think from a more clear perspective of things.
Man, I feel
Everything's
better.
over. The season's over. We're screwed. The
Eric-
NBA is rigged.
Eric, again. Now just hold it. I'll tell you when. Yeah.
Let's get into our Dude of the Night presented by our friends where we're at right now. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about some good basketball, huh?
We're going
Jalen
to talk
Green.
about some other games.
Jalen Green in 26 minutes tonight had second best game of his son's career minus his first one where he played the Clippers. Tonight, 26 points, 11 and 23 from the field, 4-9 from deep, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. A very fun game from Jalen Green. And Gil, I think what I enjoyed the most is that he looked fully healthy and fully like himself out there, even on the shots that he missed.
He looked healthy, he looked comfortable, and he was assertive out there. Throughout the time, he was out there for 26 minutes, and it was from the get-go. We saw him get a couple buckets in the first quarter. Then, I was out here moving around, and I thought he was at 7. He's up to 11 in the first quarter, so finished with 11 points in the first quarter in this game. And getting to his spots, right? A couple step back from beyond the arc. All the things that we've talked so much about that make Jalen Green. Shot over Wemby, right? Like these things that he did that are just a reminder of how immensely talented of a player that he is. And even for the brief moments we saw him next to Devin Booker, the big thing is about them looking comfortable together, even if it's not for this next 26 game, for the big picture too, because reminder, he's 24 years old. We just talked about that. You guys talked about that as far as through the lens of Brian Gregory and what he said about Jalen Green being a part of this franchise in the future. So, I know it was just one game, but it was against a pretty damn good ball club. And for him to do those things and look like he's getting back to himself is a very encouraging development throughout a night that there was not very much to be encouraged by.
Yeah, I think his shooting from deep was encouraging. 4 from 9.
Yep.
4 for 9 from beyond the arc. You saw some of what he can do defensively with the steals he was able to get. I know it's putting lipstick on a pig, looking at this tonight and going, hey, Jalen, but you have to feel better about that. Played 26 minutes, went out there and did the things that you hoped he would as a member of the Suns. Now we need to see it in a win.
Yeah, I start there. 26 minutes, 26 points. Seems pretty good. 50% from 2, 7 of 14. 44.4% from 3, 4 for 9. Seems pretty good. Felt like his impact was there. I'll start with, and I know Wembanyama played a factor in this, so I want to asterisk it a little bit, but 0 free throw attempts for Jalen. I don't like that part.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily saying he has the grift, because I held highly ethical hoops. Jalen played a very ethical game tonight. Probably could have got some fouls called in his favor. They just didn't get the whistle earned for whatever reason, but template for success. The Suns have space. Jalen's never really had it. Jalen got that space tonight. I look back at the bucket you talked about with Wemby. Gets the switch and transition because they played off of a stop, one of the few times that they did in the second half in particular. He has a switch with Wemby, and Colin Gillespie is spaced so far outside of the three-point line, and he's not even in the frame. And there's no one else that's pretty much on that side of the court with Jalen Green as he's kind of assessing the lay of the land before he attacks Wemby. Gets into the body, gets into the midi. That's a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
I like that part of it. And then just generally, outside of that play, in pick and roll, they get into these picks super high up the floor with him. Everybody's spaced to specific areas, and he can go and attack a drop coverage with Wemby, pull him out, string him out, get that switch, and then attack him again or get into a second pick and roll after the initial action that they run. And he's getting to his spots, to your point, Gil. It felt like we saw bits of his seek and destroy in terms of getting to my spots, getting to my kill spots, and getting the shots that I want in the rhythm that I want. I think he had a really good game today. I want to see him find his way to the free throw line more, not necessarily only for him, but for his team as well, because they need to kind of find ways on the margins to control things a little bit more.
Was that a Wemby factor, though?
1,000%.
Yeah, because in a more conventional
he
game,
attacked him a few times.
Yeah, I think he winds up getting to the line on some of those where it's not Wemby's freak arm length and all those things that you're going up against. I did like that he probed and he found teammates as well in that first half. You could see him kind of wind around a defense and find teammates. There's definitely, when you look at that, you saw why they thought he would be such a fit here.
Well, and the passing is something that, we've been highlighting ever since his first game, especially the chemistry with the bigs. He still had that today, but there were a couple of missed shots, either a floater or a layup by Mark and Oso. But he's still able to make these passes that, quite frankly, I'm not, surprised that he's making it, but I'm impressed at the consistency in which he's making it. Now, he did have a couple turnovers tonight. Again, the San Antonio defense is otherworldly. And the free throws, it's concerning he didn't get any, but to me, the process still felt like it was there. He was still driving to the rim, and that's the most important thing for me is, are you looking comfortable doing that? And I know, Espo, you said putting lipstick on a pig, and I feel like if we isolate Jalen Green's game tonight and just how important it is for him to have this time off, to be off the injury report, to start tonight because Grayson Allen is out, and then to be the man going forward. Now, it didn't end up in a win, which you would like it to be, but Jalen made it through all of that, scoring efficiently. And so if you just look at that, it's very, very important for the rest of this season. I know it's not how you necessarily meant it. You say lipstick on a pig, but big picture, this was a very big moment for Jalen.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't mean that as a knock on Jalen and his game. He went out there and did exactly what you wanted and would probably, I think you'd safely say, was the only one that really did that tonight. So when I say that, it's more in the larger picture, we're talking about a positive, and I understand how people can feel about that. But to your point, Eric, you need these building blocks for Jalen Green to actually get where you want him to be. And Stephen, I think we saw, to your point, a lot of those little things that make you feel better about where he will be in the longer term.
Yeah, to that point, like that first quarter, he had 9 field goal attempts. It had 11 of the team's 25 points in the quarter. Like, that mindset is what you want to see from him, regardless of opponent, regardless of matchup, regardless of what their defensive personnel is. You're Jalen Green. Go get to your spots, put pressure on them, no different than they're trying to put pressure on you, and you dictate the terms of play. And I feel like he did that. He set a great tone for what I feel like might have been his best game, considering how much usage he had to take on without Devin Booker being on the floor this season, as well as Dillon Brooks being out. And then the other part for me, I know y'all talked about the assists, but his pace, like I talked about the aggression, but it's not just two-door car, coupe, foot to the gas. It's like, nah, I'm going to put my big toe on the gas, get it to like a couple of RPMs, but I'm not going full out. And picking his spots, playing at multiple different speeds to kind of leverage their spacing, attract some attention like you talked about with the probes. And because of the speeds at which he's playing at, which is multiple, now everybody else is getting opportunities from those.
The big thing I'm looking at, too, we talked about getting to his spots and taking a look at his shot chart. Like, it's a healthy diet everywhere. Like, he had a couple from the mid-range, a couple around the rim, a couple from beyond the arc. So the fact that 3-level scorer playing to that definition, basically, right? And, again, we can think about what it would look like with who were there, whatever. But we saw what we saw with who he had around him. And at this point, we talk so much about getting a runway with him and everyone else so they can get comfortable with one another. I'm not saying that ship has sailed, but it's about to sail away. And if that ship does sail, just getting him back to playing at that level, being a guy who, early stage of his career was a number one option on a team that won 52 games. He's capable of doing a lot of things. And if he can just get his swagger, get his rhythm, and get this momentum, everything else will kind of fall into place. We can't think about all those other things. And the biggest thing, too, you got to knock on wood, touch metal, whatever, that he's getting through these performances, increasing his workload, and getting through it out any setbacks, any hiccups. That's the most important thing for this team this year, for his confidence, and for the bigger picture as well.
Let's just say going into Saturday's game, injury report is clear. You start him again, right?
Yes.
Oh, he starts.
He's back in the starting
has
lineup.
to, right?
He's back in the starting lineup.
I think if you're at full strength, you probably wind up seeing Colin go back to the bench and let him go lose a few of those minutes that he's been playing, but put him in more of a natural spot where you thought he was going to be this year, and then roll with everybody else. And Grayson is probably on that bench as well. And then all of a sudden, okay, like we talked about, things start to fall in alignment, no pun intended,
ding,
to where you thought people were going to slot. I think you have to do it that way.
Everybody agree on that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Well, any final thoughts on Jalen Green before we give him another honor and then hit a break?
I would just say his defense is still underrated. We talked a lot about it, Eric. He's not an incapable defender at all. Honestly, from my eye and kind of watching a lot of his film from last season, because I was fascinated with the Rockets before there was any type of trade rumblings, and hyper intensively watching that first round series and rewatching it again after the trade happened. He's far from incapable on defense. I think that sometimes with Houston, because of the load he was carrying offensively, off the ball he would be disengaged at times. The steal he got today, that very first one where he kind of splits the gap off the post, I think it might have been Wemby in the post, or it might have been someone else, maybe Harrison Barnes, I'm not sure. Ends up getting a pass opposite 45. He just goes and intercepts it. That's not something really anybody else on the Suns is doing for a deflection, but past just a deflection, go get the steal to corral the possession, and then you go and score on the one person that's back in transition as well. Like, I think that play in particular for me was something that is indicative of where he is health-wise, confidence-wise, and how he's slowly starting to open that gate a little bit more. So those are good moments I think he's capable of defensively, and he knows he has to compete with this team because it's a bunch of dogs on the team. So,
speaking of dogs, let's give Jalen a second honor of the night. He's our dude. He's also our blue-collar boy for all the reasons that Steven just said. We really want to see Jalen continue to string together good games, but a great post-All-Star game start for him. We'll wrap up our thoughts on this game. Plus, we'll talk a little bit about Matt Ishbia and his comments on tanking from earlier in the day, but we are going to take a quick break first. Always love telling you about our friends over at Shopify, because Shopify knows that so many people dream of starting a business, and the Shopify is an e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. We told you about 30% off site-wide on our PHNX locker. Well, guess what? That PHNX locker is powered by our friends over at Shopify. They've got you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. The best part is, if you start small and you continue to grow, Shopify will grow with you. So if you're ready to sell, if you're ready to take that next step, open up your own small business, Shopify is here for you. So turn your big business idea into money with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. Cha-ching.
Can't wait to see your meditation business you start. Bet365, you know what? In a game like tonight's, it can get a little boring, but it's never ordinary with our friends at Bet365 because they have live in-game betting. So you know what? Even in a stinker of a game like this evening, you can find something to have a little fun with. And over 90 million users worldwide use Bet365, so you know they got to be doing something right. And you know what? They have those early payouts. So if you pick moneyline Spurs or Spurs to win it tonight, you would have cashed in once they went up 20, which would have been sometime early in the third quarter. So you wouldn't have to worry about that bet. Maybe, Eric, you can get a win like that at some point.
Probably not, man. Probably not.
Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose. Sign up, use that promo code PHNX365. Deposit 10. Bet a bet of 5, and you're going to get 200. I don't have enough hands to do that in bonus bets if you win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment is never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 and over, physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov.
Woo! I just want to change the vibes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get into our Love the Play presented by our friends over at Arizona Lottery. A late addition to the Love the Play, and it goes to Braden PG2, who just became an MVP.
MVP. MVP. MVP.
You get access to exclusive videos, exclusive content, all the emojis in chat. Plus, for every month that you are a member, you get a prepaid super chat. Plus, this is special just for you, Braden. You now get the Espo Loves You button, where now you can request Espo to tell you that he loves you, and he has to say it. So,
not true, but nice try. Maybe we can just get an emoji that says Espo loves you, and you can hit that whenever you want. Then you'll be able to fill your own love bucket.
Oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I did not like that's. We're taking away the Love the Play for that.
What? Hey,
look at all of us, man. Look at all. Fill your love bucket.
Braden can get lucky just like you can with the Arizona Lottery.
Play and win today if you're over the age of 21.
Oh my God.
My love bucket feels empty right now.
You guys need some help.
Stop with the. Can we not? No.
Banned phrase.
No. Yes. Ayrton, mute mics, please. Jesus.
Love any other buckets from the Suns tonight?
No, there were 0 buckets I
Okay.
loved from the Suns tonight.
Well, any final thoughts on this game in general?
I
Obviously,
think the love the play should go to, well, I'll speak for me. I think the love the play is the ISO with Jalen on Wemby, because I just love the spacing that Jalen has.
Yeah.
I think Jalen genuinely still has a moment of surprise. It's like, oh, wait, like, there's literally nobody in this gap right here. And there's also nobody there, so I have options. I could also just go right through the guy's chest if I want to. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right, I can go ahead and do this. So I go ahead and do that, get to my bag, couple dribbles here, couple dribbles there, get into the body of Wemby, separation, midi.
Was that the moment he realized, oh, yeah, I am Jalen Green still?
He's like, no, I can actually beat Jalen Green because I'm able to do that because of the spacing. Like, it's a genuine breath of fresh air moment for Jalen, and I think he's someone that's going to continue to realize that he can be in search and destroy mode that I keep speaking to because of the space that he's enabled to play with.
Speaking of space, last thing I'm going to say about that, I consider myself to be a fairly tall person, but to think that Victor Wembanyama is a foot taller than I am, and probably then some, he's 7'4", 7'5", to create enough space to shoot over somebody like that who had 5 blocks in the game, by the way, speaks a lot to the craftiness and shiftiness, because quite frankly, that is the best defender that will switch on him maybe in his life. So for him to be able to make that happen just shows you the ceiling, and that it's going to never be that hard for him down the line this season.
And he scored, like, outside of that specific play, he scored on Wemby a few times, just kind of dragging him out into space. And whether he leveraged that opportunity for himself or got it for someone else off the attention that mismatch got, job well done from Grayson. I really appreciated it. Or Jalen, I really appreciated his mindset.
If Grayson did that tonight, it'd be
he probably would have.
impressive.
He would have gone at him.
Grayson would have went at him for sure.
I will say this. I'm really excited because I feel like we are just scratching the surface of what we could see with Jalen Green. And I understand the hesitation. I understand how scarred people are. Was talking to Ralph and Lisa, who were here first. We were talking about Jalen Green. It was very interesting because they were talking about all their worries with Jalen Green, and I think it was all fair. And then over the course of this game, seeing everything that Jalen was able to do, you kind of saw, like, okay, I see the vision. Right? I feel like people have forgotten just how good this guy can be. And this is coming from somebody who was very negative on him being part of the Kevin Durant trade and leading up to it. And I've changed my tune on that because I've seen what he's been able to do and what this team can bring out of him, which is a lot better than what he got in Houston, which was still an undeniably better team, but not better for his individual success. We want him to stay healthy because we want this team to be good, but I just am so excited to see what he can do and grow as a player as he's so young and be set up better with this offensive system and everything. Any other thoughts on tonight's game?
No, but hello, stop spreading incorrect rumors about me in the chat. I deny what you said, even if there's probably video proof that maybe it happened or not.
Jalen Green is
What did
pretty
Hello
good at
do?
basketball.
Yes, Jalen Green is, and I cannot wait to see more of it.
I didn't know that happened. Hello. Oh man.
It was not
right.
what Hello represented it as.
Well,
Let's make that clear.
I'm
I'm
try to
glad I don't know what's going on. I'm not trying to
gonna
find out.
try to transition out of this. If there were love buckets for tanking, Matt
Oh, my
Ishbia's
God.
love bucket
Mute
would
his
be
mic.
empty.
Bro.
Way to take something that was innocent and not that and go that direction.
Dog.
Woo. Okay.
No woo, no.
Can we? Here, I'll read something that aren't my words, Steven.
I don't want to
and that
know.
way-
I don't
No,
wanna
these are
know.
Matt Ishbia's words.
Okay.
These are Matt Ishbia's
I don't
words.
wanna know.
Okay.
Cool.
So
we good. My bad. I'm tripping.
So for those who missed it, earlier today on Thursday, Matt Ishbia puts out a novel when it came to tanking, which has obviously been a very big story across the NBA as a whole as of late. This is quote from @mishbia15. This is ridiculous. Tanking is losing behavior done by losers. Purposely losing is something nobody should want to be associated with. Embarrassing for the league and for organizations, and the talk about this as a strategy is ridiculous. If you're a bad team, you get a good pick. That makes sense. But purposely shutting down players and purposely losing games is a disgrace and impacts the integrity of the whole league. This is much worse than any prop bet scandal. This is throwing games strategically, horrible for fans that pay to watch and cheer on their team, and horrible for all the real teams that are competing for playoff spots. Awful behavior that Adam Silver and the NBA will need to stop with massive changes, and I have complete confidence that with his leadership, he will fix it. Those of us in a position of influence need to speak out. The only strategy is doing right by fans, players, and the NBA community.
So I have four things that came to mind for me. Ether, who shot you? Hit him up.
Should we put a
And
beat
no
under that?
Vaseline. Yes.
Should we put a beat under that?
All
With
for
the ether
it.
beat
All
under
for
that?
it. Because he's clearly speaking from a perspective of we see what you're doing and is not trying to win games. And now, what I was annoyed by earlier is for someone that's speaking with a tone of matter of fact, and there are multiple examples that we've spoken about that people have acknowledged on social media the last couple of weeks. And we still got national media members or just media members from other markets that thought it was cute or funny or whatever, sly, slick, whatever, to try to say, oh, it's real tough to say that when you don't have any picks that you can tank for. Really? Like, he just got done saying all of that from a sport that's supposed to be built off of attempting to win games, and your only rebuttal is, well, it's easy to say that when you don't have any picks under your control for the next couple of years. Stop it, bro. Stop it.
And that's a man that has to walk in to
And
those
he was
meetings.
probably on the call with them earlier today.
And essentially we'll have to look Ryan Smith in the face and say,
100%.
yeah, I did call your ass out for going out there and circumventing what actually is competition. And he also is essentially saying Mark Cuban's whole we're in the entertainment business, not the basketball business, was a load of crap as well. The bottom line is basketball is about whether you win or lose. And if you are losing on purpose, you are doing it to basically shove it in the face of your fans that you're not willing to do what it takes. And guess what? If you tank, it does not always work. In fact, it rarely actually works because usually you're not going to get the number one pick. And if you do, you might wind up with the Michael Olowokandi or the freaking Anthony Bennett.
The DeAndre Aytons.
The DeAndre Aytons
Sorry,
of the world. And you wind up actually not fixing anything for your franchise, but punishing your fans with more bad basketball. In fact, we saw that for a decade. I had a first row seat for it when I worked for the team. Fans don't want to watch you tank. And I applaud Matt Ishbia for stepping up and saying that directly to fans and saying it at what might be a detriment to himself because he's saying that to 29 other owners and a significant portion of them that are either doing it on purpose or are so inept at owning a team that they're doing it by accident. I'm looking at you, Sacramento Kings. So I applaud him for saying this and accepting the fact that he's saying this knowing that the league actually has to make moves to do this and that owners are going to have to approve said moves to make it happen. I'm glad that Matt Ishbia said it because fans are thinking it, and it's going to have to be drastic because you can't put a Band-Aid on this gaping wound that the owners have created and that GMs who think they're smarter than the rest of the room have created. I'm for like going really drastic. Everybody has a 1 in 30 chance of winning it.
I don't know
Like,
about that.
why?
Whoa.
I don't know
Why?
about
You
that.
want to stop tanking? You can't give any incentive to actually lose games. So it's that, or you make everybody free agents because you can't do this. Well, you know, if you're there 2 years in a row, you can't be top 5. No, because people are going to continue to lose on purpose just to get a top 10 pick. In that case, it cannot be a half measure. It will have to be a full measure. And I applaud Matt Ishbia for essentially saying, and not essentially, he's saying, if you were trying to lose, you are a loser.
Yeah, well, I couldn't have said it better myself. When you mentioned the Kings, it made me think about it. What happened to the old school way of just being bad? Like just being
Back
bad.
in my day,
Bad
we
was
were
some
bad
pride.
the ethical way.
Bad was some pride, man.
Back in my day, because
We just sucked.
no, seriously though. The other day, I'm trying to find something to show Eric on YouTube, and an old Hornets broadcast comes up in New Orleans, and I'm like, oh, look at their record. They were 4-30. I remember this season, and I was like, this team was actually trying to win games. They had high expectations, and they started the season like 2-29. And they're like, is that the year before Chris Paul? And it was. So at the end of the day, they were trying to win games and end up with a Hall of Famer because of it. What happened to that? Like, I think that like it's gotten so out of hand when we're sitting guys in the fourth quarter after they play the first 3 quarters, or guys just had the oopsie and they couldn't play, or whatever it is that's happening. Like, ultimately, just go out there and hoop. And I think that there's maybe a way to flatten the odds. Maybe it's some type of dynamic odd situation where it's like, look, these are the teams who were trying to win, but they just sucked. And these are teams that were on the verge of making the playoffs. And then it's either you have 2 different types of lottery odds. You have we actually suck, or you were purposely, you know what I mean?
What are we afraid of if you actually just flatten the odds completely? And if it's, good teams are going to get better by look at OKC. They're going to get high draft picks because they've traded
because of
for
how
it
they
anyways.
navigated in the front office.
Yeah, but still, the reality is that good teams are always going to find a way to get good players. Sure. So why does it matter if it happens because they win the luck of the draw that literally is just complete and utter luck?
I do see part of where you're coming from. I think there are a couple of things with flattening the lottery odds, and I do think that you have to give a slight advantage, so maybe like almost flattening it for the teams that are really bad, because I understand that tanking is a problem, and I get that. There is a tried and true method among all sports to give the worst teams better picks, because if they're a bad franchise,
do it though.
But here's the thing: is like the Kings are a bad franchise. They still do tanking the old-fashioned way. They just suck at building teams, and they've always done that. And so you give the Kings a top pick, they're gonna blow it. You give a good franchise top picks like Boston when they were bad and they got Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum and they navigated the draft. That completely alters their franchise, right? There are still reasons to give bad teams good picks, but I do agree that there's a problem. I do think it is objectively hilarious, because I agree with a lot of what all of you are saying. I do think it's objectively hilarious that the owner to come out and speak publicly is the one that traded all of his picks. I'm not saying that's why he's saying it. I think it's objectively hilarious. I also think it's objectively hilarious that OKC, who did tank and pulled it off masterfully when they did tank to get some great players and to build draft assets, are now saying, hey, Utah Jazz, don't do that. I think that's also objectively hilarious.
Okay, but I understand that OKC in some cases strategically tanked, but they also traded for so many draft assets that they're a weird hybrid of this.
Anomaly.
You know, Utah is a team that is completely attempting to circumvent everything, which is ridiculous to me. And I'm sorry, I don't want a communistic approach to my sports. I do not care if you're going to hand out draft picks to teams because they've been bad. Guess what? If you suck at running a team, you should pay the price of not being able to get good players and getting run out of your damn town, because that's the reality of it.
Wouldn't the quote-unquote communistic approach be giving everybody the same odds?
Okay. Maybe by definition.
That's not me trying to disagree with your point, but I'm just thinking
that's fair. But to me, I don't need you to subsidize people that are crappy at their jobs. If you can't build a good team, then it's not my job as the other 29 owners to give you better odds, right? I'm already giving you money that's coming out of tax dollars to try to even this out. Why do I now have to sit there and maybe you get a generational talent like Cooper Flagg because you can't get out of your own way or you're losing on purpose and screwing your own fan base?
How about this? Not flattening the odds, but you have an independent tanking commission that evaluates how people like the Jazz or the Kings, right? How ethical your tank is.
A tank ethics committee.
If you violate certain things, right, you lose your pick, or your pick gets automatically moved to the end of the first round.
One out of 30 chance, and then the league is literally just luck of the draw on drafts.
But then what happens to draft trades?
I'm tired.
You trade them.
What happens? What happens like trading future first-round picks?
So
how about you just go to the lottery and then first they have
all the picks to us.
They have all the odds in a hat, and all 14 teams just pick out of the hat, and that's the odds.
Why don't they just arm wrestle for the picks?
Eric, what do you mean? What happens? Then you have 2 out of 30 chance. A 1 out of 15 chance to win.
A lot of people trade for picks because they're like, oh, I think you're going to suck. Okay. That's going to be a good pick.
Okay, so then it just changes the dynamic of that. And it makes those trades even more of a, okay, I'm playing the lottery legitimately in this now because now I'm just getting a 1 in 30 shot at this, and I'm doubling my odds to maybe get that generational.
I think this is the closest Stephen has ever been to getting an actual quadruple whiskey neat.
I'm tired of teams and their competitive integrity having to even be questioned. Like having to go into a season thinking, okay, this team didn't even try in free agency, so we know that at any given moment they might just be trying to manipulate the system. Like I understand. If you know who my favorite player of all time is, you know that there is no cost that you won't go to trying to win.
Jalen Smith.
But the issue with that for me is, like, it's bigger than just the franchise. Like, you're playing for fans. You got people that are monetarily and even just with their time and energy investing into your franchise because that's either proximity-wise the only team that's available or they are literally choosing you from another side of the country, sometimes in another country itself, another part of the world. Like, you owe it to these people that essentially fund you to help you have your job to be trying. Like, Gil, to your point, if you're gonna suck, bro, just do it the natural way. Like,
you know what you don't have.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I'm tired of having to look across the league and say, "Oh man, this guy's not playing."
On an already bad team.
On an already bad team. Oh man, they might be trying to tank for a pick. Or this team has this team's pick 2 seasons from now, and they know that they need to be in position 2 seasons from then to be able to potentially steal that pick back. Like, bro, can we just hoop, man? What? This is ridiculous. Like, having to have these conversations and Adam Silver meeting with investors about shifting things going forward because so many people are trying to cheat the system. There's a difference between cheating and manipulating. This is trying to cheat the system in your favor. Like, I'm very, 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 very tired, and these conversations have been going on since the process years for the 76ers.
And guess what? That didn't work.
That didn't work.
You put your fan base through all that, and you know what you got? A trip to the second round and a bunch of injuries. Congratulations.
They sold the merch with the tank on it and all that. Stop it.
Kind of fire, though, low-key.
So that's what I was going to say, though, right? Like, whatever basketball deity you believe in, the universe or whatever it is, this stuff doesn't play. Like the Jazz, for example, have been accused of doing this for a while. And the joke has been, well, you guys are probably still going to end up with the 5th pick. Maybe that's the reason why and people who can say it's rigged, this, that, and other. I have it on pretty good belief that it's really hard to rig the system, but maybe it's above me and I have no idea. But I think that it's hard to rig. It just happens that way. The team that's not ethical about doing it, they just keep going, oh, maybe we'll try it again. But ultimately, like, these teams, very rarely has anybody actually gotten rewarded for doing it the wrong way. And I think that should be enough of an incentive to, okay, let's not do it the wrong way anymore. Again, the Jazz are already a team coming into the season that we did not think were going to be very good. And I don't think that they need to take matters into their own hands of a team that already wasn't very good and not play their best players who were on heaters through the first 3 quarters when it mattered the most. Again, the universe, they end up beating the Heat still without their guys sitting, and it's just a crisis for the Heat, what's going on with them. So I just think that I don't know how you police that. I feel like policing it is just by doing the right thing, and somebody having. But I know for these coaches, I know that Will Hardy's probably not the one saying, "Well, I'm not playing you guys." It's a call from up there saying, "Look, we gotta start weighing these ping pong balls on our side." It's just I don't know what turned and how we got to this point, but I really don't understand that the fact that there aren't very many situations and circumstances where it's worked out for people, that it's gotten this bad to this point. Is frustrating.
And the other part too is, okay, say your team, you played the Jazz the 3 times you're going to play them at the beginning of the season when they were trying hard, and then a team
Like Suns.
a team you're chasing to get in the playoffs against,
That's true.
plays them when they've all of a sudden started to just sit everybody.
Yeah.
That changes the competitive balance in more than just you tanking to get a draft pick. It screws up the entire way that the league is playing and how they go about it. It's ridiculous to me that you're sitting here and you're having to deal with that, and you're having to have these conversations, and you have to have a solution that just ends it, that does not give any room.
I don't
to
know if
pull
there
it.
is a solution.
There is 1 out of 30.
I mean, that's it.
You
Send
can't.
it to Adam.
You can't tank if there's no incentive to lose on purpose.
Sure. I mean, it might cause other problems, but it might solve that one specifically. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments below. I'll end it with this. Your comment, Gil, reminded me of a scene from Arrested Development where they're asked, well, did it work for those people? No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us. That is the NBA's tanking problem summed up in a nutshell. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Those who actually came out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass, Upper Deck, Kitchen and Bar.
MVPs, a whole
real
lot
MVPs. We'll be back next month for another watch party, and then the month after that for another watch party. And then, hey, if the Suns make it to the playoffs,
Lots more watch parties.
lots more coming your way. So make sure you come out here. It's super fun. It's a great time, great food, great people. We'll let you know when the next one is next month. In the meantime, you can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. We're off tomorrow. We'll be back for a back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. You can follow the Freckled Mamba back behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen at Freckled Mamba. You can follow Espo at Espo. Catch him on Southwest Bias every single weekday morning. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That's Steven with a PH. You can follow Gil at GilMcGregor_. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. And remember, no basketball communism on Espo's watch.
Woosah, woosah.
Go.
We all silly like the